Hello, my Richies, and welcome back to another episode of the Sunday Strategy Sessions here on the Make Life Rich Movement podcast. In today's episode, we are going to continue in on furthering the topic of the neuroscience of faith, where science and spirituality meet, where they intersect. So, last episode on this topic, we kind of stopped at the different types of meditation and prayer and what neural networks are affected. And one of those neural networks that we're going to discuss today, along with the ways in which we synchronize both individually and as a group with this network, as well as the integration of the elements of the different types of worship, this particular network, and then how we go about synchronizing as a group or as individuals. So, the network that we're going to talk about today, and I'm just going to take a quick sip, is the default mode network, DMN. And it's typically the network that is going to be most present neurally during spiritual experiences, prayer, meditation, visualization, sitting through worship or service, prayer, songs, spiritual writing, journaling. So the DMN is typically active during those periods. And why it's active during those periods is because it is you yourself are engaging in self-referential thinking. And that is showing like a seriously incredible modularization of our brain interacting with the spiritual experience that we're connecting to. It is the true physical representation of this download that we're receiving. I recently was watching an episode of Danny Jones, and he had Dennis McKenna on, one of the McKenna brothers who founded the McKenna Academy. They were absolutely paramount in both spiritual and psychedelic experiences, the conjoining of them coming together, and all of the science that has come from that over the last 40 years of their work. Namely, now Dennis, who is still alive, is doing a lot of work with the default mode network. Now, when you're doing psychedelics like mushrooms, you will find yourself in a psilocybin high that is really, truly turning on that default mode network. And what you're experiencing within that time frame, it's, if you've never done a psychedelic before, it's almost like Danny Jones said it best on his show, the background becomes the foreground. It's like the level of detail and connection that you see to everything and everyone really does open up almost instantaneously this instance of just feeling truly one with everything. And it then kind of reverberates through your system and causes your body to feel this period of oneness. And the other times in which I've experienced this have been, the fun times, like, little love making with your your partner, your person, or those moments of just like heart hugs that are needed because you're in pain or you're grieving and you feel the transference of energy from one to another. And then through prayer, meditation, visualization, these spiritual experiences to where we are able to connect back to that science that is interacting with spirituality and faith and is 100% being recognized within our default mode network. Excuse me, guys. So, what is the interaction between DMN and other networks that are appearing crucial for these transformative spiritual experiences? Research has shown that long-term practitioners develop a more efficient DMN regulation, meaning that they are able to more quickly tap into or have the overall practice muscle repetition of being able to kind of dive right into and enter these spiritual experiences a little bit more easily than one who's trying for the first time. Now, when DMN gets quiet during deep meditation, the practitioners that are experiencing that deep meditation where the default mode network quiets are experiencing periods of ego dissolution and unity with something greater. So the role in which DMN both is enhancing the spiritual experience as it's happening, it is also quieting when necessary for you to be able to receive the download of that feeling of oneness, the feeling of unity, and overall love, the overwhelming feeling of love. So DMN's role is both autobiographical in memory and spiritual experiences suggest that it might be the key to integrating both spiritual insights into your personal identity. I will say that through psychedelics, and I don't want this episode to be all about mushrooms, but that was absolutely one of the concrete, infallible moments in my life during my earliest trips where I truly could not deny the insane facts that I am a blip of sand in the absolute cosmos of not only what this earth is, but what this universe is, and that I am a part of all of it. And it took this psychedelic experience and me interacting with that default mode network that shortly after that, I'll tell you what, it became a lot easier for me to jump into and feel and believe in the feelings of spiritual and faith experiences because I'd interacted with it in a way with the psilocybin that in essence turned it on and made it something I put faith in, I believe in, I respect as a level of radar and introspection for myself. So how do you go about doing this with prayer and meditation? The same thing happens, and it may be on a different scale or a different level of vibrancy. You can go really deep in with psilocybin and certainly force through a lot of this experience to a higher level of, we'll say, saturation. But with prayer, meditation, visualization, breath work, I tell you what, I've tapped into these things as well. And certainly more in prayer, in free journaling, in free thinking, and talking to God when I'm out in nature, walking on the beach with my dog. I find myself jumping so easily into that place and so immediately feeling the warmth of love and unity taking me over and just reminding me that, like, this is my purpose, this is my place, this is what I'm meant to do. Continue on in the faith of knowing that what you're doing is what you're meant to be doing and all is well. And it's profound. And it's absolutely something that I wanted to discuss and bring to light for you so that you too can start to, if not already, recognize these large, bigger picture moments and know what part of your brain is interacting with the universe in that time to be able to give you this feeling and this thought and this self-reflection thinking that's giving you this reference point of, like, my God, I am so small, but I am so mighty and I'm so full of power and love, and I have to do good things with it. So studies indicate that different spiritual practices are going to affect DMN connectivity in distinct ways, which I absolutely have experienced personally and agree with. And it offers insights into how various traditions achieve similar mystical states through different means. Now, whether that be ayahuasca trips, whether that be deep transformative breath work, whether that be transcendental meditation, whether that be deep prayer and, doing the rosary or some type of ritual prayer experience, you're going to have different connections. You're going to have different interactions. And it's not only going to be the instances of your neural networks firing and rewiring and trying to strengthen and connect with those things that you're continually going towards, which every time is going to strengthen and increase your ability to dive in quickly and with a potency into these spiritual experiences because of the default mode network and your neuroplasticity all connecting in together and firing and wiring in ways that are allowing you to just keep downloading in ways that feel like, oh my God, I did it again. That thing that I thought was intuition before and may still very well be is my consciousness connecting with that is all around me. And I'm able to decipher and create reference from myself and that interaction and what I think about life. And now I'm going to act accordingly. It's such a beautiful process that I really hope you get to interact with frequently throughout the rest of your life, because it is really life-changing. So research shows that experienced meditators are developing stronger connectivity, between the DMN and attention networks, potentially explaining their enhanced ability to shift between focused and opened awareness states. Again, that neuroplasticity, you're creating a smooth groove throughout this pinky little brain we got in here that just wants to make things more efficient and just wants to please you. And through you doing these acts of spiritual experience through prayer, meditation, visualization, singing, writing. There's being in nature. There's just so many ways to activate this network that's just going to continually make that muscle memory tighter and tighter and tighter, which lets you jump in quicker and slip in deeper than you could before. And that came out. Somebody say it. That's what she said. Okay. Studies of mystics during profound spiritual experiences reveal unique patterns of DMN deactivation coupled with increased activity in reward centers, suggesting a neural basis for the reported bliss in deep spiritual states. This is another instance of this default mode network taking us up and in and then dropping out so that our consciousness can get to work getting into these deeper theta brain waves, allowing the firing and wiring to take us through these states of consciousness and get us into that deep theta reparative state where we are truly one and checked out. Our ego has dissolved and we have completely entered into a state of bliss and love and oneness and unity with God and the universe and each other and nature and this chair I'm sitting in and the computer or the iPad or the iPhone you're listening to this from. So let's talk about group networks and group worship and group synchronization. So collective religious practices are going to show remarkable patterns of neural synchronization among its participants. These are group chanting, prayer states that allow the participants to synchronize. It appears as though they not only synchronize their heart rates and their brain waves, but they are creating a shared physiological state. So if you've ever been to a football game in stadium and the Pledge of Allegiance comes on and everyone recites the Pledge of Allegiance together, and you're not only feeling the energy and the sound echoing throughout the room, you're feeling the energy of connectivity of 30,000 people all doing the same thing at the same time. And that intention, that energy center of field that's around us, that 3 feet that we cast out, when you're close to someone within chair's distance, your energies are all going to meld together. And throughout the room, you're all connecting into one lump. That creates a psychological state and a physiological state that allows all of you to feel that overwhelming of emotion where maybe a tear might come out and you're like, oh my God, am I patriotic? It's like, maybe, but more than likely you're interacting with the energy of your neighbor and the intention that's put into this moment of presence where you're all coming together to recite, what is almost the prayer of hope of peace and prosperity for our nation and continuing to remain free and a place where we all love to live. So there's these moments where this phenomenon of this shared physiological state is going to allow the heart waves and the brain waves to be one, similar to a heart hug or holding a baby and putting them to sleep. You'll recognize you begin to forget you're holding a kid and that they're there. So this social bonding allows hormones like oxytocin to increase during these group activities of worship or spiritual experiences, which enhances feelings of trust and connection amongst us. So just the sheer interaction with others in this setting, with intention being put in place and allowing those good energies to come in and come out together, is something that will continue to affect your day in and day out. So if this is something that you've worked into your daily or weekly routine, whether it be with your family or a place of worship or a yoga studio, you are setting yourself up for a day of beautiful hormones running your centers and helping allow to choose what you're going to fire and wire within your neural networks. That's going to keep that DMN feeling regulated and calm, and also able to turn off and get out of the way when you're ready to tap into these spiritual experiences. The phenomenon of collective effervescence described by sociologists appears to have a neural basis in synchronized brain activity. Again, that moment where you're at a concert and you hear a crowd roaring together the lyrics, and then you feel the bass take over and there's a slight breeze in the air and you're like, God, I'm alive. Like, that is you feeling the true buzz and vibrancy of life all around you, that effervescence. It's such a beautiful word, like the popping of bubbles within like champagne or soda. It is a collective effervescence, that it is something that can be recorded, it can be felt, it can be registered as the way in which we are not only connecting together as one, but collectively throughout all the cosmos and things, we are one. And we feel it in this overwhelming moment of collectivity that makes everyone smile, and it's beautiful. So research shows that physical proximity and shared attention during group worship enhances neural synchronization. So again, the tight quarters in church, the tight quarters in a yoga studio, being in nature and being completely enveloped in a forest, or being completely enveloped with the wide facing panoramic view of an ocean. These things are going to allow you to not only jump in deeper, but feel the cocoon of energy around you that is really allowing you to go deep and tap into this synchronization that comes through these spiritual experiences. So the social brain networks activated during group worship overlap with those involved in empathy and emotional attunement. You are becoming a tuning fork to receive sympathy, empathy, love, for you to, in essence, be able to recognize we are all one, and I must treat everyone how I wish myself to be treated. The adage of do unto others as you would want done to you is 100% found and based and supported in science, with these feelings of emotions and empathy and love taking the forefront within these group practices because of the feelings of trust and connection and community that's coming alongside the neural effects that are happening that we're not even aware of, that are creating this collective effervescence that's going to continue to have you coming back for more. It's such a beautiful addiction to find yourself in, it sounds though. Regular participation in group spiritual practices appears to enhance social cognition and emotional regulation, even outside of the religious context. So again, yoga practices, breath work, maybe you're going to a writing group, maybe you're in a dog walking club, maybe you play chess with friends. These moments of intention and connection and community are spiritual experiences because you are interacting with the energy and the essence of that human that is also a part of the greater picture beyond us all. It is such a beautiful thing to kind of take in and use as your frame of reality, because it really does allow you to not only force yourself into these places, but allow you to really recognize the synchronicity of your brain waves and be able to choose more of that rather than the dysregulation of maybe interacting with those people or situations or scenarios that aren't working for you anymore because they're causing dysregulation. Dysregulation is out in 2025, guys. We're all about synchronicity. So EEG studies of groups chanting show that participants' brainwaves synchronize not only with each other, but also with the rhythmic elements of the chants, creating a state of collective coherence that enhances group bonding. If you've ever sung in a choir, or you've ever been in a place of worship where there's a choir singing, or you've ever listened to a haka, or you've just ever been a part of a drum circle, you understand exactly what is happening. And it is the energetic presence of life coming into the receptors of your neural pathways, into the beat of your heart and your soul, and just creating a vibrancy that you're all attuning to and creating oneness with. It is insane how much our brain wants to be at one with others. It is our natural state, guys. That's why dysregulation and disharmony amongst people feels so ick, because it is completely not what our brain wants us to be doing. Research shows collective prayer reveals increased activation in the mirror neuron systems, suggesting that group spiritual practices may enhance empathy and emotional contagion among participants. You're spreading the happy gene. You are spewing that oxytocin all over each other when you are in these yoga classes, breathwork classes, meditation states, prayer groups, church groups, Bible study. All of these things are allowing you to contain happiness within yourself and also spread it to others just simply by existing and doing this action together. It's sickening and beautiful. You're raising your vibration in a way that allows others, when they enter your energy field, to take that and run with it, and then spread the contagion to others simply through proximity of interacting with that energy field with intention and purpose. So how do we integrate these elements? The integration between individuals and group practices creates complementary neural effects. And these different types of meditation and prayer might be strategically combined to not only enhance both personal and collective spiritual experiences, but give you the understanding of the mechanisms that can help you to dive more effectively into your spiritual practice and design one that fits what you're looking to do. As we stated 2 Sunday strategies ago, you have the ability to combine different spiritual practices within your day that are also activating different parts of your neural network, creating a strong and supportive brain structure for you to have throughout life, which is also aiding you in warding off dementia, Alzheimer's, and overall brain decline. There is so much to be said about these spiritual and faith-based practices, but overall, the science is overwhelmingly clear that this is not only good for your soul, but it is good for your body, and namely your brain and the autonomic systems that are running off of that are creating these hormone responses that can lead to your body just shooting out immune responses that are unneeded because everything is just so worked up inside of you. So there are untold health benefits as well that I'm sure we will be able to gauge and register more and more over the years of these practices becoming more believed in and more studied. So the balance of solitary and communal practices appears important for optimal neural development. So you want to be able to be practicing things on your own with intention and purpose, but also have the aspect of community where you're able to come together and get that collective effervescence to, in essence, keep reinvigorating the pot of positivity that you have within inside of you and keep spreading it amongst others when you interact with them and strengthening it alone within your private practice. Studies of long-term practitioners show that combining individual and group practices leads to enhanced neuroplasticity in both social and attention networks, suggesting that there is a synergistic effect. So you doing your own work alone and then coming together to share that growth and do work with others is not only a benefit for your brain, but it is also helping you to feel not only more social, but want to be more social, which we all need as humans. Sociality amongst our species is integral to our health, our well-being, and certainly our longevity. And taking a spiritual practice or a faith-based practice or a self-growth practice into consideration for yourself at home individually and then meeting with others to share that is paramount to your long-term survival. Research indicates that alternating between different types of practices, both contemplative, movement-based, and social, may optimize brain network integration and flexibility. So again, we're looking to combine different practices throughout our days and our weeks to be able to give our brain the optimal all around top to bottom exercise that it needs and can only receive through these faith-based, spiritual, scientifically woven experiences that only we can provide ourselves and others. I hope this blew your mind because the more I dive into it, the more that I am so certain that we are absolutely meant to be more together than we are to be divided, and our brain and our heart and our body is so wired for this. If this touched you in any way, shape, or form, please leave me some comments on Spotify or YouTube or my Instagram. Just want to know what you guys are liking. If you enjoy this content, I'm going to keep up with it because I'm reading it, I'm doing it, I love it. I think there is a lot to be said about the current state that we all find ourselves in. I'm 39 years old, and I'm finding that there are a lot of us right now that are just on a faith-based journey. A lot of us did not grow up in religious households, and we find ourselves looking for something beyond ourselves. And I find that there is just so much research out there that's already indicating to and supportive of the fact that there is something out there for us to kind of look a little bit further into. And it is my goal over the coming year to be able to connect some dots, not only for myself, but for you if you find yourself on that journey as well. It is my absolute pleasure to have your time and attention. As always, it means the world to me to be hearing from you around the world that you like what I'm putting down and you keep listening, you keep showing up. So please share this episode with someone if you think that they could benefit from it. Please like and rate and review if you haven't already done so on Spotify or YouTube. And it would mean the world to me if you could just send me a little shout out and tell me what you've liked about something I've done recently. Helps me to keep focused. And as always, I really hope you make life rich. Have a great day.